Hello and welcome back to Snack Play Love, where today I'm going to be talking about a game I picked up over Christmas called Cantaloop. It is an interactive paper-based point-and-click adventure game. I don't know whether it actually says that on the first one. Yeah, paper point-and-click. It's about a heist, I guess you could say. The first part is breaking into prison. Essentially, it's a book version of a Monkey Island style point-and-click adventure game. It says ages 16 and up, but you could play it with younger as long as they don't mind the fact that some of it's set in a bar. Play solo or with a friend. I think it's probably better solo. And 5 to 8 hours, it's weird because I played it over lots of different days and I found that it worked best when you're having a little bit of a break in between the different things. So what do you get? You get 3 tiny decks of cards, which seem to have slid about. Some bits, a decoder, a grid of letters, which is the only bit that you damage by playing the game. So my advice is never to write on that and to do something else. I got the iPad out and essentially made my own little spreadsheet and ticked and crossed the boxes off. But if you had Excel to hand, you could use that. This, as you can probably see, means that you can see the words. I was tempted to demo some of the first book, so you've got a tutorial. In fact, there's a Cantaloop Zero on their website if you wanted to download and play it for free. But there's some introductory story. You get to the first location of the lighthouse. So how does it work, I hear you ask? Essentially, you need to take the cards that are in here. Oops. The dangers of doing everything one-handed. And so you can try and combine these with existing parts of the areas that you've found, and you get a code I5Z9, and then you look it up. I won't spoil any of the specific things for any of the locations. The first 2 locations of the top and bottom of the lighthouse, quite self-explanatory. This is page 2. If you get a yellow arrow, you can go to location on page 1. Once you've found a location, it's unlocked forever. These are simple things. So if you read M1E5, you discover that you can take tea bags. Will that be useful? Will it not be useful? Who knows? And everything's a little bit tenuous, like the classic Monkey Island games and Zork and all of that kind of thing. But I thought they worked quite well. And I did enjoy playing book 1 enough that I've recommended it to a few people already, and I purchased book 2. It was a bit more expensive than book 1 because one of the reasons I picked up book 1 is that it was on sale, and I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. I will try that. So I've never opened book 2, so I'm going to stop, edit, and do that. Okay, so I've removed the cellophane, and it looks very much the same as the previous one, but they've had to print a correction sheet. Now, to me, this is actually a really good sign because book 2 has lower, worse score reviews than book 1, but they've had to reprint 1 page from 1 scene, and hopefully that means that it's actually just as good as the first one, but people didn't like the fact that they couldn't progress in the game and had to look online. Yeah, I know, you're attacking the pen. There's slightly more cards than previous. There was 60 cards. This has gone up to 72. There's more chunky stuff in here, but this is the main thing you require, the grid, but I'm going to use the cardboard they provided. We're going to different locations on the Cantaloop postcard this time. The inventory is much smaller. That is what I need. There's some interactive bits and bobs, which I'm going to put away because, you know, spoilers and all that. And if you are genuinely afraid of spoilers, I am going to try and play through the intro one-handed and see what happens. Again, they've put the cards in the things upside down, which is absolutely insane, because that means that you automatically see what the one of the card is. The very bottom card of the they're even in reverse order this time. That's mad. The very bottom card of the deck says, "Oh, don't look at these. You shouldn't look at them," in the first book, which is mad, because you'll have opened these two and you'll be 6 hours into the game, 5 or 6 hours into the game, before you ever even open that to find that card. Whereas if they just put them in the reverse order, so that one was at the top and then put them like that, it would have been so much simpler. But anyway, if it plays like the other one, then we won't need anything apart from the first 24 cards. So, it's talking about the point-and-click adventure game, like Myst, Telltale's Walking Dead, which I never ever played, and some of the games that you liked as a kid. 72 cards, punchboard, decoder. Do not look at any part of this book. Looks like we start at the lighthouse again. Oh, if you have played part 1 before, you can skip the tutorial and go to the opening scene. Hooray! I explained before that the yellow arrows are exits. You can use your cell phone to look things up, same as in the first game. There are little prompts that take you to various stuff. So, find the correct code in the list below. So, oops, focus. Rear view mirror, looking good. Hook, still the sexiest crook in all of Europe. Good, continue with the tutorial. If you'd read the other one, you were not supposed to read this. Always make sure you only read text you are explicitly allowed to. For instance, text mark with the code you found in a simple objects banner. In the first book, because after I'd finished it, I knew there were some cards that I didn't get to, which is quite cool. There are some alternate paths to look for. I had a look at some of the extra things, and there are lots of, you shouldn't be reading this, take a penalty card. But the penalty cards are basically bad achievements that don't actually do anything. But it's fun that they've included that nonetheless. So I'm going to try and go back to the angle I was before. There we go, there's no glare now. So looking at complex objects, you combine 2 objects and then you will get an inventory thing. Now, in the first book, the inventory was where most of the stuff happened. And, oh no, see, they've changed it. The magnifying glass card 55. That's really annoying. Why are they not all together? Never mind. So we'll have to find the magnifying glass in a moment. We can use the magnifying glass to look at the lighter. And the magnifying glass points at the top thing, and the bottom one is Q4, so it's V2Q4. Is that here? It is! Inspect cigarette lighter. It's a cigarette lighter, just like me after I quit smoking. Aha! Good, continue with tutorial. Combining an item with a complex object. So, take the cell phone you set aside before, card 24, and combine it with the cigarette lighter from the previous exercise to charge it. Now, the cell phone is also over here, which is good. So we know it's the second code and the bottom code. So it's R5, A5. So, this always brings up bad memories from when I was almost charged with the battery. Haha, there, now it should hold for a while. You charged your phone, continue with the tutorial. And so, this is kind of how it plays out. And you can combine the items together as well. Take the 2 item cards and put them next to each other. And where to find codes? You can find codes in the inventory and on the page. These are the triggers. So you cross them off, and then that moves you further in the story. So if you have the key to a door and you come up to the door, it will ask you if you've crossed off a certain box. Then otherwise, read the next text. So It teaches you programming accidentally via if-then statements. Your turn, cross off H9 on the trigger seat. Yes, actually do it now. Then read this code. So this one says, if F5, read this. We have an F5. If H9, which we have, read EONO. Otherwise, you've made a mistake. Eno says, good, continue with the tutorial. And so on and so forth. It teaches you how to do stuff. Here is a locked thing that says H9 on it. So you can only read this dialog option if you had H9. So it gets a bit complicated, and you kind of have to rely on the fact that you're keeping track of stuff. In the first book, I messed something up and skipped really far ahead to a bit where something had an action performed on it that I didn't even know I needed to do yet. But I kind of managed to recover it okay, and still enjoyed the book. Easy mode. I don't know what this is. This mode provides you with additional tips for the toughest puzzles in the game. These are embedded in the story and never give you a direct answer, but they may nudge you in a particular direction. Ah! So if you tick off K8, you can get the easy mode clues, which is quite interesting. In the original, there were tips at the back. So there are tips. So in theory, you can track yourself through the game with the tips. There we go. So looks like there are 3 super quests on this version. There is learning how to hack, there is acquiring the blueprints, and recon. So each of those will have a track that you work through. I won't read or focus on the conversations at the start of the game, because this will be spoilers for the first one if anybody wanted to play. But I have no doubt that you start in the lighthouse and then you progress from there. That's the final target in the final book, that mansion. That's where we're going, and we're going to do a big heist. But yeah, overall I think I paid about £12 for the first game and then £20 for the second, and given the amount of time that it will take me to work through it, especially with cats sitting on it, it was worth it. Yeah, we're sponsored by Zatu Games, where I built the first one in the sale. But yeah, it was good fun. Thank you for watching. If you want more reviews like this, let me know. But this was just because I couldn't find that much about it before I bought it, so I figured it was worth doing the video. Bye.